The harmattan that December felt like a warning, a dry, whispering thing that crawled across Enugu with the persistence of a hungry spirit. People complained that the air stung their faces. They didn't know it wasn't the wind. It was fate. And fate had chosen a man named Chukwudi Andy Okeke. Andy was 33, tall, slim, and carried his ambitions the way some men carry diseases, quietly, secretly, and with a kind of slow-burning fever that consumed his sleep. He had the eyes of a man who spent too many nights staring at ceilings, counting failures like constellations. On the outside, he looked normal. On the inside, he was a furnace. Every morning, he left his one-room apartment in coal camp wearing a neatly ironed shirt and a cheap tie, determined to pretend his life wasn't falling apart. His neighbors called him Oga Banker, even though everybody knew he hadn't worked in a bank in over a year. It was a polite insult, a reminder that dreams were expensive and reality was merciless. Andy used to believe he was destined for greatness. Lately, he believed destiny had forgotten his address. But everything changed on the night he met Chief Modeling. Before that night, there was Merit. Merit was the kind of woman whose kindness felt like sunlight on the skin, warm, healing, dangerous if taken for granted. She was 29, petite, soft-spoken, and had mastered the art of smiling through storms. She worked at a pharmacy, and somehow still found ways to hand Andy money without making him feel like trash. "You're not a failure," she'd whisper. "You're just in a season. Seasons end." But Andy's season felt permanent. They had been married for 3 years. 3 long, tiring years. And love, no matter how sincere, couldn't pay rent. Merit supported him. Fed him. Encouraged him. Believed in him. But even belief gets tired. Especially when the man you believe in comes home every night with excuses instead of progress. Yet Merit stayed. Her friends called her foolish. Her mother called her stubborn. Her pastor said she was training her endurance. And he knew he was draining her. He saw the lines on her face deepen each month. He saw her shift from smiling to sighing. He saw her offer encouragement with lips that trembled from exhaustion. Every morning he'd wake up beside her and whisper a promise, "I'll make it. I swear I will." Every night he'd come back defeated. Failure is its own kind of haunting. December 18th. The day everything tilted. Andy had gone to see one of his secondary school friends, Paulinus, now a successful businessman dealing in luxury car parts. The man lived like he had a personal contract with heaven: wine, women, wealth, waste pain from counting money. Andy, meanwhile, arrived with borrowed transport fare. Paulinus welcomed him cheerfully, slapped his back like a bag of rice, and poured him a drink. Andy sipped it slowly, watching the chandelier above them shimmer like drops of frozen sunlight. "How you take blow like this?" Andy asked. Paulinus smiled, the kind of smile men smile when they know something other men don't. "Brother, life no be beans. If you want to rise, you must follow the right people." Andy frowned. "Which people?" Paulinus leaned closer. "There are groups, circles, societies that help a man unlock his destiny. But they don't accept just anyone." Andy's heartbeat stumbled. "Which kind society?" Paulinus didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "How badly do you want to change your life?" The question sliced through Andy's chest. It echoed in every place his dignity used to live. How badly? More than he wanted air. More than he wanted sleep. More than he wanted to keep pretending that his life wasn't spinning down a drain. "I'm ready," Andy said. Paulinus smiled again. "Good. Someone will contact you. But listen well, once you enter, you don't turn back." Andy nodded, not understanding the weight of what he was agreeing to. Desperation makes men agree to contracts their souls can't afford. At 1:14 a.m., Andy woke to the sound of his phone vibrating like a trapped insect. He looked beside him. Merritt slept peacefully, her breathing soft, her face lit gently by the streetlight leaking through the curtains. He answered the call. A deep voice filled the line, too calm, too deliberate. Mr. Okafor. Andy sat up. Yes, who is this? You seek advancement. Andy felt a coldness in his chest. Yes. Come to Presidential Road. Look for the unpainted gate opposite the abandoned filling station. Knock 3 times. Andy swallowed. What should I expect? Opportunity, the voice said. Then the call ended. Merritt stood beside him, half asleep. Honey, who was that? Wrong number, Andy lied. He dressed quietly and stepped outside into the stillness of the night. The moon was thin and sharp, like the blade of a ritual knife. The wind carried dust and something that felt like warning. But Andy wasn't thinking about warnings. He was thinking about changing everything. Presidential Road at night felt deserted, as though the night itself avoided walking there. Andy found the unpainted gate easily. It stood tall, rusted, and slightly bent, like something had once tried to break out of it. He knocked 3 times. The gate opened instantly. A man in a white kaftan, barefoot, tall as a tree trunk, stared at him. Enter. The compound inside was huge and silent, too silent. The air smelled of incense and something metallic, like old blood hidden beneath fresh perfume. Andy was led through a corridor of flickering torches. Then into a hall. Then to a chamber. Then to a door carved with symbols he didn't understand. Inside was a room lit by red candles arranged in a perfect circle. In the center stood Chief Modelim. Everyone in Enugu had heard of Chief Modelim, the man whose wealth multiplied like fungus after rain, whose businesses never failed, whose enemies disappeared, whose smile was said to hypnotize. But seeing him in person was different. His presence felt heavy. As if he carried shadows in his pockets. Welcome, son, Chief Modelim said. His voice was calm, but it vibrated in Andy's bones. Andy bowed his head. Sir. I was told. You were told nothing, the chief interrupted. You came because your spirit is ripe. You came because you desire greatness. You came because the world has refused you. Andy's throat tightened. Chief Modelim walked around him slowly, like a hawk studying prey. You work hard, yet you fail. You love your wife, yet you cannot provide. You try to rise, yet life steps on your neck. Andy's eyes burned. Chief Modelim stopped in front of him. If you want wealth, we can give it. If you want success, we can arrange it. If you want power, we can place it in your hands. Andy's heartbeat thundered in his ears. But, Modelim continued, every blessing requires an exchange. Nothing enters without something leaving. Andy nodded slowly. What must I exchange? Chief Modelim smiled, a slow, terrible, knowing smile. You will be informed when the time is right. For now, kneel. Andy dropped to his knees. The candles flickered violently. The air shifted. The shadows moved. Chief Modelim placed a hand on his head. The room darkened. A low humming began from unseen voices, dozens of them, humming the same ancient, dissonant note. Andy felt something enter him, cold, electric, invasive. His knees trembled. His breath quickened. His vision blurred. The chief's voice echoed. You have taken the first step. You have opened the door. Now you belong to us. Then everything went black. Andy woke up on the floor of his room, at home. Beside Merritt. Dawn light was creeping through the curtains. Merritt was already awake, touching his forehead with concern. Honey, why are you sweating? Did you have a nightmare? He stared at her. He didn't remember leaving the chief's chamber. He didn't remember returning home. He didn't remember anything after kneeling. But something had changed inside him, a strange calm, a feeling like unseen hands were guiding his future, shifting the ground beneath his feet. It wasn't peace. It was possession. "Andy, are you okay?" He forced a smile. "I'm fine." Merritt didn't believe him. Women who love deeply can sense when destiny is changing the man they sleep beside. He showered, dressed, and stepped outside. Something felt different. The air. The sunlight. The weight of his body. As he walked, people glanced at him as if they sensed it too, something shifting beneath his skin. At 10 a.m., he received a call. "Congratulations," the voice said. "You have been appointed marketing executive at Diamond Crest Holdings. Your salary is 280,000 naira monthly. Report immediately." Andy's breath caught. That company was one of the most competitive in Enugu. People prayed, fasted, sacrificed goats and drank holy water for chances like that. Is this real?" "Report now," the voice repeated. "And do not ask questions." The call ended. Andy stood frozen for a moment. Then he laughed, the loud, desperate laugh of a man who had been drowning for years and suddenly found air. But deep inside, something else laughed with him. Merritt hugged him tightly when he told her the news. "I knew your time would come." "I told you," she exclaimed, tears forming. But when she pulled back from the hug, a momentary shiver ran through her. She couldn't explain it. It was like touching metal during Harmattan. Cold. Sharp. Wrong. She tried to dismiss it. But she didn't know she had just embraced a man who no longer walked alone. A presence now followed Andy everywhere, tall, silent, patient. A shadow with no shape. A whisper with no mouth. A watcher whose duty had only just begun. The job was only the beginning. Within days, Andy began to excel with impossible speed. He closed deals that senior staff couldn't touch. Clients trusted him instantly. Doors opened. Money flowed. Opportunities fell into his lap like fruit from invisible trees. People whispered that he was lucky, blessed, or favored by God. Andy knew better. One night, a text arrived. "Your exchange is coming. Prepare your heart." Andy stared at those words, his stomach twisting. But he told himself what desperate men always tell themselves. It won't be too bad. Maybe it won't involve anything serious. Maybe the sacrifice will be small. He didn't know the truth. The spirits had already chosen the price. And the price had his last name.